Hello, and welcome to the Get Lean and Eat Clean podcast. My name is Brian Grin. I'm a certified health coach, trainer, and author. And this podcast is for middle-aged men and women looking to optimize their health and get their bodies back to what it once was 10 to 15 years ago. I will give you simple, actionable items to get long-term sustainable results. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. All right, welcome to the Get Lean, Eat Clean podcast. My name is Brian Grin, and I hope you had a great weekend, enjoying some nice weather here in Chicago. Got out to play some golf, so hopefully you got outside as well. And hopefully you also listened to my interview with Elgin Loki. This is the second time I had him on the podcast, and I just love, if you haven't checked out his Instagram handle, check it out. It's Physique, Pheasyque. There is a link in the show notes from the last episode. So check out his Instagram. Does a ton of great illustrations and content if you want to learn all about, tons of different information about building muscle and body fat and etc. So definitely check that out. We also talked last week about protein. It's a topic that comes up a lot. I seem to ask it with a lot of guests. I also talked about it with Dr. Brett Shear, because he had on a vegan and another proponent of perhaps leaning towards animal proteins. So I wanted to actually pull up a study, maybe to create some clarity around this topic. And it was, again, this is one study, and there were, 18 males in the study. So this is not like the end all, but it sort of gives you something to take away and perhaps add to your life. And the reason I like to talk about protein so much is it's a satiating nutrient. It has a high thermic effect, more so than carbs or fat. So the bottom line is, when you're prioritizing protein, you are going to eat less junk and eat less processed carbs. So we always talk about how important that is. And so I just wanted to create a little bit of clarity with this study that was, and I'll leave a link in the show notes for you to check out if you want to read it more about it. But I'm just going to give you sort of the high level. And there were 18 resistance trained males, and they completed 4 sets of leg press and 4 sets of knee extensions. And they did 10 to 12 rep range. And then they immediately ingested one of the following 3 post-workout protein drinks. And the 3 were Casein Protein, Soy Protein Isolate, and Whey Protein Hydrolysate. So casein, soy, and whey, which are probably the 3 most popular proteins out on the market. And each protein drink contained about 22 grams of protein. And so 3 hours later, what they did is they took a muscle biopsy, pretty cool, a muscle biopsy from the thigh muscle to determine which of the 3 proteins increased muscle protein synthesis to the greatest extent. From most to least, the order was, can you guess? What was the best for muscle protein synthesis? Number 1 was whey, number 2 was soy, and number 3 was casein. And specifically, whey protein increased muscle protein synthesis 122% more than casein and 31% more than soy. So if you don't want to have animal protein, soy is your next choice. And this isn't surprising in the sense because whey protein has more of what's called a leucine content than casein. And leucine is sort of the gold standard amino acid when it comes to muscle protein synthesis. So whey protein has the highest amount of leucine, more than casein and more than soy. And casein is digested much slower than whey protein and soy protein. So what's the takeaway from all this? Well, the takeaway is, if you want to maximize muscle protein synthesis in the first few hours after your workout, whey protein is the best choice due to its higher leucine content. Now, some people will have the essential amino acid leucine and add that to maybe casein if they want to help muscle protein synthesis, or add it to soy. So you can do that. I would also add to it that I think it's important to also just prioritize protein throughout the day. We've talked about, like, you don't need to necessarily have to ingest protein right after your workout. That anabolic window is longer than you think. But it doesn't hurt if it's a few hours after. And I would concentrate more on sort of that daily protein intake. And as far as how much, I would say I would recommend, I think what you hear from most individuals is 0.75 grams per pound on the low end and 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight on the higher end. So right in between there, 0.75 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, if you're wanting to lean out a little bit and go from like 200 to 175 in weight, you aim for the 175. So the majority of ingested protein should come from high quality animal protein sources, as these should have the greatest impact on muscle protein synthesis due to their higher leucine content. So I'll say that one more time. The majority of ingested protein should come from high quality animal sources, as they have the highest impact on muscle protein synthesis due to their higher leucine content. So there you have it. Good summary. Love this study. I'll put a link in the show notes. Let me know if you have any questions. Brian@briangrin.com. And yeah, looking forward to talking to you on Friday. Hope you enjoy this one and have a great week. Thanks for listening to the Get Lean, Eat Clean podcast. I understand there are millions of other podcasts out there, and you've chosen to listen to mine, and I appreciate that. Check out the show notes at briangrin.com for everything that was mentioned in this episode. Feel free to subscribe to the podcast and share it with a friend or family member that's looking to get their body back to what it once was. Thanks again, and have a great day.